Before we get into the headlines, I want to take a moment for something that's been weighing on all of us. I'm talking about the horrific tragedy at Bondi Beach last week. To see a celebration like Hanukkah, something that's supposed to be about light and community, turned into a scene of such violence is just devastating. 15 innocent lives taken, including a child. It's the kind of news that stops you in your tracks. Our hearts and our prayers are truly with the families in Sydney and the entire Jewish community there. It's a reminder of how fragile things can be, and honestly, it makes the rest of today's news feel even more urgent. On a much lighter note, I have to say a massive thank you to all of you. We just hit 1.2 million views last month over on Instagram at Awesome Seminars. It is absolutely wild to see this community growing so fast. If you aren't following yet, definitely head over there for the behind the scenes clips. But all right, let's get into it. There's a new report out from Axios today that's sending ripples through the intelligence community. The headline, Israel has officially warned the Trump administration that Iran might be using its current large-scale missile drills as a smokescreen for a real-world surprise attack. Now, if you're feeling a little bit of déjà vu, you're not alone. About 6 weeks ago, we heard a very similar warning and ultimately nothing happened. But the vibe in Jerusalem right now is totally different. The report quotes an Israeli official who basically said that after the horrors of October 7th, their risk tolerance is zero. Even if they think the chance of an attack is less than 50%, nobody is willing to just sit back and say, it's probably just a drill. What's really interesting is how the focus has shifted. For years, all we talked about was the nuclear program. But Israeli officials are now telling the US that the ballistic missile threat is actually the more immediate, pressing danger. While they're still watching the nuclear sites, they're seeing a massive effort by Iran to rebuild its missile factories and repair air defenses shredded earlier this year. To understand why they're so twitchy, you have to look at the 12-day war back in June. Iran launched over 500 ballistic missiles in that conflict, and while defenses were incredible, we saw significant damage on the ground. We're talking about direct hits on the Haifa oil refinery that knocked out a huge chunk of the country's fuel supply for months. We saw strikes near the Diamond Exchange District, Soroka Medical Center, and even the Weizmann Institute. Israeli intelligence says Iran's stockpile was cut in half during that war, down to about 1,500 missiles. But they are rebuilding at a pace that could see them producing 3,000 missiles a year if left unchecked. The timing of this warning is clearly strategic. Prime Minister Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago on December 29th. Bibi is reportedly bringing fresh plans for proactive measures specifically targeting these missile production sites. He's expected to be joined by a heavy-hitting delegation, including National Security Council Director Tzachi Hanegbi. It puts Trump in a fascinating position. On one hand, he's in peacemaker mode, but on the other, he's just relaunched Maximum Pressure 2.0. This isn't just a repeat of 2018. We're talking about NSPM2, a memorandum directing officials to drive Iranian oil exports to absolute zero. They are targeting the shadow fleet, selling to China, and looking at snapback sanctions at the UN. It's an economic stranglehold meant to starve the IRGC of the cash. They need to finish rebuilding those missile stockpiles. The scariest takeaway from the Axios piece is the talk of a miscalculation trap. We're at a point where both sides are so jumpy that one side moving a battery for a routine drill could trigger a pre-emptive strike from the other. It's a high-stakes game of chicken played with ballistic missiles. That's all for today's deep dive. Remember, if you want to join us for a seminar, reach out via our website at awesomeseminars.com. Keep safe and Happy New Year, everyone.